Y'all see, created something good for myself, and don't pay attention to that. That is the future. What if your boy is finally done it? Thumbnail is created. All right. So yeah, this is what if Naruto was OP slash drop the facade part 1. No, part 4. The Uzukage office. Sasuke's eyes opened widely as he saw both of the eyes. So, what you're saying is that you're a god. No, what I'm saying is that I am a god. You know, in these few years that I have been alone, a girl who seemed broken came towards my village, which led to. And once this girl saw me, she instantly knew who I was. And in that very second, she confessed her obsession with me. Afterwards, learning the truth, we hung out, and I began to like her. Then another one came along, who was a part of my clan. And this time, this one was actually a part of my clan. Since we were both Uzumaki, we bonded very, very, very quickly. And she told me about her life, how a snake bastard tried to take her, and she ran as fast as she could until she reached my village. Of course, my shinobi saved her. So yeah, there's that, he said. As then, two people walked out, as both Sakura and Sasuke's eyes opened widely. Hinata? Sakura said, as she was shooketh. Everyone thought that after hearing the news that her crush died, she killed herself. Seeing as that there was a lot of blood everywhere, and they found a dead carcass within. How dare you kill the baby? As they had found the carcass, since they since their since they didn't know who it was, they just assumed that it was Hinata. But it was actually the carcass of a dead monkey. Well, of a monkey which was rearing very, very, very close towards the human race's status. And who also had the Byakugan inside of their hand, as they had monkeys kept them as trophies. When they killed their opponents, let's say that these direct species kept their eyes as trophies or something. So a Hyuga died, and they kept those eyes, and eventually they stopped wanting to hold them, and they ripped out their own eyes and replaced them. And that's basically what happened. As everyone was shook. Ryu and Teijin. By the way, the one who looks more towards Sasuke is Ryu, and the one that looks more towards a version of Sasuke and Naruto is Teijin. Ryu and Teijin, by the way. Both of them are Uchiha. Like, both of them are Uchiha. Since both of my lovers were okay with the fact that I would have two wives, seeing as I am the leader of my village, that happened, Naruto said, looking towards them. But let's get back onto the topic. As Hinata's eyes began to morph until they had reached a form, both of her eyes were now this had the same eyes as Naruto, as the Sage of Six Path's brother Hamba, or his potential eyes if he had trained on his Byakugan more, or he had connected with nature more. And basically, yeah, Naruto basically smirked as he looked towards his both both girls. Anyway, I shall train both of you. If you both want to train, since you're both going to be joining me, since you don't stand a chance against me and both of my generals, or the strongest people here, he said, looking towards Hinata and Sakura. Well, Hinata and Kari. Since they're both the strongest currently here, besides myself, as both of them could easily account for 25% of my power each, I have to say, I'm not very surprised, he said, once looking towards the two. We then have a 12-month, no, we then have a 2-month time skip. Within this time, the rest of the cages have recognized Wave Village as a legitimate nation because of the fact that Naruto had daimyo levels of money. He basically had supreme power. Plus, he was the Uzu Cage, which meant that he had like literally all the control of the village. But he had created the council, consisting of the civilian half. The people of the civilians, the people that the civilians trusted the most, and the man who owned it, one of the men who owned it most of Ozugakure shops because of his large amount of money. He was able to basically gain all of the shops as he bought them all off. Well, not all of them, but most of them. So, let's begin. He said, I brought you all here to say that two more shinobi shall be joining our ranks. Well, 4 more shinobi shall be joining our ranks, Naruto said. Do you have any objections to any of the shinobi? He said, staring towards one of the women on the council. Her name was Amelia. I have no objections, but I do have to question. What is their current level in terms of power? They're easily S rank. You know that we train everyone until they are S rank. Amelia said, as then she asked another question. How will their services benefit towards our forces? Will they be the direct army? Will they be scouts? Or will they be missionaries? Or dead out, straight up warlords? You know that the warlord title only stands for my 6 generals, he said, looking towards Amelia. was correct. You have prejudice towards other people. What do you mean, Amelia? Because it's been seeming that your generals were the people that you started to train first. And I, as myself, believe that it is that you are unfit for the title of Uzu Cage if you are unable to meet the correct standards and train more of our nin. I have already told you, Amelia, that I can't train any more of the nin because of the fact that I have to do a lot of paperwork. So I get my 6 generals to train them. You already know this. I guess, she said, as she looked towards Naruto. As then another woman looked at him. No, as a man from all the way across the table said, so, if that's all done, Uzukage, please dismiss this meeting. Wait, Naruto said. First, I have to get you all to approve of their titles. Each and every one of them are normal nin or easily S rank. So these guys have seemingly within a short time span surpassed the rest of our nin. So I wanted to see if you want me to appoint them the title Akuma yet. You and I both know that the Akuma title only stands for people joining at the level of the 6 warlords. So, what are you getting at? Ryu and Teiju can beat one of each, and they can individually beat one of the warlords, Zabazama Mochi. Of course, that is when he is not using 100%. They match, which gives them a base, which gives them a full power strength of around 70% of Zabuza's power. Each of them. And Sasuke Uchiha has progressed at massive rates to the point where I believe that he can fight, to a point where he can fight on equal footing with our fifth to strongest warlord, Raymond. Raymond, Naruto said. So I'm just trying to get your approval of such. Of course, they don't stand a chance against him with his lightning god armor, but they can fight They can fight if they go full out on him without it. Plus the God Eater blade that I have, the God Eater blade that I have created for each and every one of our shinobi has to be upgraded. So I am asking for any of you to fund this endeavor, seeing as even though I am the daimyo of this country, our country hasn't been around for very long. So just setting up the country has cost a lot of money. You are correct, but what will us contributors get in return? More protection of your shops and other things, which will be treated equally. But I want to see how this will benefit us specifically. It's not to benefit you, any of you specifically, it's to benefit our entire country. No, I believe that we don't require an upgrade unless of it benefits us directly. Fine. You'll get to sell the weapons. That's more like it. Amelia said, as she looked back towards her closest friend. One of her closest friends, Rose. As Rose looked at her, "You're sure that you want to do this? You're challenging the might of the cage. He just might get angry. If he gets angry that quick, then he won't be fit to be our Uzu cage." She sent through, basically just through looking at her. "You are correct," she said, once looking towards her. As then the council began to talk amongst themselves. As one of the shop owners said, no, one of the men who, well, not one of the men, the man who funded most of the shops slammed his hand down on the desk. "So, how am I supposed to profit if they are selling the weapons? I don't approve of this," the man said. As then everyone looked at him. "And if I am not benefiting, then I will just have to," he said with a smirk on his face as he looked towards the Uzu cage, Naruto. I'll have to ship my funds back towards myself, of course, if I'm not required to do anything, he said with a smirk on his face. As then, since like the 6 warlords, they have to be on the council, otherwise it's not fair. This Raymond slammed his hand down on the desk, stopping the actions. "You shall fund the Uzu cage, otherwise we'll shut down your shops and you'll have to ship out the village. And then you'll be labeled as an S-rank missing nin by our village, and we'll upgrade the bingo book. And we'll get it paid off to see that you die," Raymond said, looking towards the man. As the man shut up. Now, Raymond, there's no need to send out threats towards our council. This whole council thing is stupid. All you did was just get people that everyone hates and put them on the council. We need to get people who's actually ready to do what is required to help the village. All you've done is just put people who have power on the council instead of placing people who actually deserve the title council member. As Naruto shut up, he knew that he was correct. If they weren't on the council, they would have left. But Naruto didn't want that. He needed their funding for the village. I've already told you, that's what the civilian, that is what the common part of the council is for. As Naruto pointed towards the other side of the council room. No, you know that all of them are just pussies. They're just gonna wiggle under their thumbs so they could get things off. As a matter of fact, the only thing that they want is to be on the good side of these punks so they could get things off and get better stuff, he said, looking towards Naruto. Now, Naruto said, gesturing towards Raymond to be quiet. As then, like the other warlords, they were just staying quiet. Like, they knew that this was true, but they didn't want to say anything about it. Raymond, there's no need for such violence, he said, looking towards basically Raymond. So, what are we supposed to do? Just allow these common folk to boss us around like they have the power? If it were up to me, listen, matters with the village would go into the hands of people who have actually experienced war, who've actually been out there on the battlefield fighting. That's what the Shinobi Council are for, Naruto said. They're not here to interfere within affairs such as they're not here to as Naruto then sighed. Sorry guys, I had to get rid of a problem. Naruto then stopped as he sighed heavily. Come on, everyone. Let's go outside for you to see their skills. Within this, what if, like, all of the civilians, instead of, like, just being fucking useless, each and every one of them are at least high Jonin level. And all of the actual ninja are extremely high Kage level. So, yeah. So, in battle, if they ever have to fight, they could just kill some people. As the quiet old man, or the bridge builder, who had gained his council status by Naruto, looked at the field. He wasn't traversed with the ninja skills like his son, but he do. Since his son was actually a part of the ninja force and such. We basically see Naruto. No, Sasuke. Sasuke, Ryu, and Teiju stood in the field. First, the speed test. You have to get from here to there in under a second. In at least a minute, he said, pointing towards the wide gap of the field. He could use space-time ninjutsu and plus his extremely overwhelming earth techniques to make earth obstacle courses as they began to run as fast as they could. Sasuke jumped over one of the spinning wooden statues, which, like, you know how in Kung Fu Panda they had the thing where Poe, he was like, it had a lot of arms on it. It had like 4 arms on each row, and it could go back and back at you. Sasuke just cut off one of the arms and kicked it forward, and then he disappeared, slamming his fist directly through another one as he ripped it out. throwing it back. As then he dashed forward. As he dodged multiple kunai while still running. And then he sliced off the kunai dispenser. Then he rushed forward. Excuse me. Anyway. Anyway. Anyway, Naruto looked forward. Well, Sasuke continued like this as he sliced through each and every one of them. As he had got there in under a second, as he smiled at his record. Then Ryu and Tenju stepped up. Ryu said, "It's my turn." As Ryu disappeared, he punched through a brick block. As then he kicked another one, as Rose smirked. She was a part of the Shinobi faction, so she was pretty much a part of the Shinobi Council, which consisted of which consisted of which basically consisted of basically all of the warlords and the strongest of the Shinobis. And to get into the rank of one of the strongest Shinobis, you had to have if you're trying to do it immediately, you have to have getting under a second within each test. Otherwise, you just lose. Anyway, Ryu just disappeared as he yelled out, "Massive flame!" as he burst, as the flame jutsu burst out of his mouth, as it erased the obstacle course completely. As he got there, in close to a millisecond, as Naruto smirked. "That's good," he said with this smile on his face. Ryu, because of the fact that Ryu had decided to just nuke the whole entire scenario quickly, he got through the obstacle course fast. While Sasuke just showed more prowess because of the fact that he got through the obstacle course without using any jutsu, which is why Sasuke will be rated higher. Plus, he's a bit stronger than Ryu and Teijun. Anyway, then Teijun stepped up as he disappeared. "Lightning style! Grand lightning whip!" he yelled out as two whips formed in his hand, made out of lightning, as he whipped around, as he completely ashed his targets. As he whipped forward, he had gotten there faster than each of the brothers because he was specialized in lightning and jutsu, unlike his brother who was specialized in fire and jutsu. So he had gotten the same time as his brother. Now, the actual Shinobi test. To see whether you can actually fight against any of our Shinobi. Rose, he said as he gestured towards Rose, who was a part of the Shinobi Council, unlike her friend Amelia. As she was now in front of Sasuke. As she then cracked her knuckles, she got into a stance. She was one of the profoundly strong Shinobi who rivaled the warlords and gained the title Akuma. As she disappeared, as she began to fight Sasuke, she was fighting on equal footing until Sasuke went through multiple jutsu. "Fire style, grand fireball jutsu!" he yelled out as he unleashed the fireball jutsu. But Amelia just dodged like an angel. Well, Rose just dodged like an angel. She then yelled out, "Water style! Grand water? Grand water missile!" As she shot out multiple missiles of water as they shot towards Sasuke. "Lightning style! Grand conductor!" he yelled out as he then shot bolts of lightning as he then ran through one-handed hand signs on the other side. "Wind style! Gentle breeze!" as he blowed the water style back towards Rose. As Rose then said, "Wind style! Perfect barrier!" As she had learned this jutsu after studying the water chitin, which Hinata perfectly performed. Since her technique, her style was called water style flowing fist, as her fists were almost pretty much identical to the crushing rivers as they pummeled down, punching with massive strength but graciousness, but beauty. As she disappeared, going for a punch which flowed like water. Sasuke tried to punch her as well, but it zipped around his fist, and then he flew back, being punched. She, unlike Sasuke, who could only match around 25% of Raymond's strength. And that's including the thunder god, the lightning god armor as well. Who can match his strength basically. She matched him completely. She was on equal footing, which earned her the title Akuma. As she smiled, she flew towards Sasuke. As she punched him in the stomach, he then fell over, knocked out. Yeah, he's around, I'd say, he's around high shinobi level. But in terms of Akuma, he would be around low Akuma level. She said, looking towards Naruto. Now, as for these two, she said, as she gestured for both of them to come, as she gestured for Ryu to come at her. Ryu put up in a valiant fight, being slightly weaker than Sasuke. He's around low Akuma level. And that's all. So he's a bit stronger than Sasuke. Yeah. Now, so this guy, she said, looking towards Teijun. As Teijun flew towards her. As then they got into a battle, as they battled furiously, their fists connecting. Teijun's majestic style, which was called the Flame Fist style, was made as a perfect equal to the water style. And a mix of the two was the mist style, which was extremely strong. But not as strong. Well, was extremely strong, pretty much. As their fists met in the battlefield. He knew that his fire fist style was a bit weaker than the flowing water style. As he jumped back, fire style, grand fireball jitsu. As she then yelled out, water style. Grand water propeller. As water then shot out of her mouth, it came behind her as it pushed from her feet as she flew into the fireball. As her clothes were wet from the water, as she passed through it, punching Taejong gracefully, knocking him out. He's around lower Kuma level, she said, looking towards him. Although both of them are stronger than the Sasuke guy's potential is so great that I believe in no time Sasuke will surpass them quickly. He will surpass them and break through their limits, she said, looking towards Naruto. So, that's good enough performance from me. I'd say each and every one of them gained the title Akuma, except the Sasuke guy. But I'm pretty sure within a week's training, he already had the title. But we also haven't mentioned her, they said, looking towards Sakura. Oh no, I'm a medic, Nin, so I'm not going to fight. I don't want to harm myself within battle. I have to look perfect for my Sasuke-kun, she said. Whoa, she said, but in her head she was thinking that she was gonna train furiously, and since she surpassed both Ryu, Taejun, and Sasuke, then she was gonna read tryouts for the test and show everyone her might, and then Sasuke-kun would love her. But little did she know that she fucked up, and that's gonna be the end of this little Valentine special. I don't know if y'all noticed, but this video, oh shit, I gotta at least get it to 50 minutes. Shit. Let's get back into the story. Basically, back into the story. Sasuke looks forward towards his. No, Sasuke woke up in the hospital. As above, well, on side of him were both Ryu and Taejun. And on top of him with a green radiant light, which at some points in time gleamed a small shade of blue, was Sakura. As he then looked to the side and noticed that there were four clones, well, 6 clones of her. Well, no, 6 clones of 6 clones, including her. Basically, that number 6 includes her. I'm just trying to get that point across, as it pretty much includes her. As they were all healing each and every one. Then, shortly afterwards, Raven and Taejun woke up. It had only been around 5 minutes before after their battle, basically. And then, after being notified by one of the passing by nurses of Sasuke, Ryu, and Taejun's basically awakening, 3 people walked in. Naruto, Amelia, and Rose. Alright, Naruto said. As then he had on he had a box in his hand, which was big enough to fit. No, he had a scroll in his hand, which was big enough to fit, or his seal, and the seal on it was good enough to fit an entire village in it. So yeah, I'm just saying it was good enough to fit an entire village. So yeah, it's pretty good. It was pretty much good enough to fit an entire village. Yeah, that's what I said. I think I said it was good enough to fit an entire village. Yeah, good enough to fit an entire village. Yeah, it was good enough to fit an entire village. Jesus Christ, I keep on saying that over and over again. As Naruto basically looked forward with a smirk. Because of your Waco and from the status that my shinobi Rose has told me about, two of you are being promoted to Akuma level and one shinobi. As Sasuke looked down, he knew that he didn't perform as good as the two. As Ryu and Taejun had worried looks on their faces. As he then handed them uh, what they call it, a headband. Pretty much a headband which read as they basically handed them each a headband. No, a vest plus a headband. Naruto gave Ryu and Taejun a vest. On the vest, it was the same. The vest was basically golden, and it was great. It was basically a shade of gold, and it looked pretty cool. As in on the headband, on the headband was the Uzumaki swirl, plus a simple, and on the side of it, it had five scratches on top of it, and below it was in the kanji for Akuma, signifying that there were four other ranks. Since the warlord rank was exclusive, pretty much only Akuma level fighters, a select few of the Akuma level fighters, are chosen to become warlords, and not a lot of them become warlords. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. A few of them, only like basically a few of them could become Akuma. So yeah. As Naruto handed no a warlord. As Naruto handed them the headband plus the vest, then he walked towards Sasuke, as it was the same silver basically vest. It was the same golden vest, but on top of it was the Uzumaki seal. And it had four scratches on the top of it. And under it was the kanji for Jonin. Alright. Kukai. Sasuke Uchiha. Since you have been promoted towards Jonin level, you shall be training. You shall be training. Basically, you shall be training multiple students. Since our village, we've already received multiple requests. I've already been invited to. Since a few days back, I came from a Kage's meeting, and the other villages have accepted the fact that my village is now will now be rising to the title, will soon be rising to the title of a great nation. Since in the past, Uzugakure was one of the great nations, they allowed it. Naruto said. Anyway, you will be assigned 13 shinobi. Since I myself, since scavengers and other people, the other little kids who scavenged, who went across the world scavenging for food, have joined our village. As they walk in, as then 9 children walked in. These will be your Genin groups, Naruto said. As the more a leader and showed more promise were assigned to the Kumalo fighters. We skip a small time skip towards the tuning exams, which was, since it was a new village, going to be held in the basically within Uzugakure. And since all of the 5 great nations wanted to see basically what was up with these niggas, every single village, like pretty much all the 5 great nations are sending shinobi on basically teams, getting teams out there. We see the exams. As everyone was there, including the Hokage, which sat in the suspended seat. Everyone here, I am here to speak with a heavy heart, as a new village, and as my duty as the Uzu Cage. He said while hitting his chest. My village is going to be hosting the tuning exams. And unlike the following years, where there was a written test, I am adding one more level towards the tuning exams. This will be called the 4th level of the tuning exams. All of the top 10 shinobi of the finals of the 3rd test of the tuning exams will be going into we'll be fighting to death. We'll be fighting with each other for dominance. Those who gain the dominance over each other will be promoted towards Chunin. So at least each of the 5 great nations will have people to vouch for. As then, Naruto stepped down from the stage. The test, we didn't blow through the test. It's basically the... Oh no, fuck that. Fuck that. I'm gonna say that only only Sasuke decided to get a team. Yeah, only Sasuke decided to get a team since she's a Jonin. And basically Akuma level Shinobi or Akuma are just going to be they're just going to be strictly for war, since they're at the level of warlords and they're for high level missions. They're not for training people, I'm going to say. But Sasuke is Akuma level. He is Akuma level, so yeah. Let the battle begin. This is the stadium. This, similar towards the Forest of Death of Konoha, except this entire area was created by myself in my advanced level, plus my advanced earth style jutsu. Everyone shall begin. As all of the shinobi rushed in towards the area, as basically we meet the team. Hakura. Do you sense anyone near us? No, I don't sense anyone. Good. Then let's... Bad. We need to get as many scrolls as possible. Otherwise, we will be stuck. We'll be stuck in this. Stuck to fight weak niggas. We should just get rid of the weak ones and let the strong ones live on. Or get rid of the strong and let the weak ones go on, he said. As they disappeared through the forest, as they dashed, as they met a team of rock shinobi, of basically rain shinobi. No, the grass shinobi. I'm gonna kill you, you little faggot. No, the leader, which seemed to be the leader, said, hand over your scroll, and we won't hurt you. As then, Ryu and Teijin, as then, Hakura, Baruto, and, Sarada, Hakura. Oh no, Hakura. Yeah, I've already gotten people for this. Random ass nigga. So Hakura, Haku, and let's say Fodder, since Fodder is going to die within this what if. Or he's just gonna turn out to be a random gentleman. Anyway, as they pass through the trees quickly, as then tension began to grow between the groups. Ice style, Haku said, as the area began to get cold, as his eyes he stared at his opponent with his cold eyes. They felt their demise. They felt that now, from this killer intendant alone, that they had messed with the wrong group of shinobi. And that's going to be the end of this video. Make sure that y'all fucking like, subscribe, and do all this shit. I'm trying to end this video because I know that it passed 50 minutes.